What's up guys, Mickle here, and in this video we're going to be talking about the newest member of the XRP community, Miss Shannon Throp. Now, this is a very interesting new addition to the XRP community because she actually works at the Treasury Management Division at Wells Fargo, and what you're going to learn in this video is she is extremely bullish on Ripple and XRP. Now, she actually put a $100 to $500 price target on XRP in the near term within the next year. In this video, I want to share with you some of her thinking. Now, the first clip I'm going to share with you of her talking is actually from a Twitter space she was in earlier today, where she breaks down her bullish thesis for Ripple and XRP. But then afterwards, I'm actually going to have artificial intelligence read for you a tweet thread she put out there, really breaking down why she thinks XRP needs to be at such a high price. Now, guys, neither of these clips I'm going to show you, one being her Twitter space, one being the AI reading, is perfect audio, but bear with it and really just try to understand what she's saying here, because it's absolutely phenomenal. I think it's going to give you such a better understanding of exactly why XRP is going to need to be such a high price in the future. And guys, this is no rookie. This is no scrub. This is someone who is high up at Wells Fargo. She has a deep understanding of how markets work. She's been in banking since 2006. So this is one you're going to want to watch till the very end. The audio is not perfect, but just try to get through the entire thing. Like always, your support means so much to this channel. If you enjoy these videos, make sure to take a quick second to like this video and subscribe to my channel. It's really going to help me out so much. Also, if you ever need a good place to buy some XRP or the Flare token, make sure to check out my favorite exchange. I'll pull it down in the description of this video. With that said, though, let's jump right into it, and I hope you guys enjoy the content.
Shannon, there's been a lot of debate and a lot of actually hatred towards Chad about why a company like Ripple would even be involved in a domestic transfer. Any opinion on that?
First off, stop hating on Chad. Whoever it is, stop it. Chad is very smart. He does his research very well.
How about this? Is it more, in your view, is it more, if a company like Ripple helps build rails for domestic, is it more of a guarantee that they're going to be the chosen ones when they go international, or is there a play domestically as well that this country specifically would want to use?
I know that we all know that there are a lot of talks and partnerships with Ripple. That goes without saying. I haven't heard of anything else being used for domestic payments. I will say that instant payments was not a treasury management product before. That only became lumped under treasury management, I think, within the last quarter. So they haven't mentioned any other kind of company or whatever that would come in and do domestic payments. And they've also, I gotta stop saying they. A lot of the payment applications are now being updated for whatever reason. We can all speculate why. So I honestly believe it could be used for domestic as well, which kind of plays in too with the ads that you see from Ripple. I mean, if you go to Ripple, I mean, they've been saying, I think it was years ago, that you could do point of sale, you can do person to person, and I don't know. That's just what I believe, is that it will be domestic.
Listen, Shannon, if you, but Mickle's another adult. Mickle, go for it.
Yeah, it's super awesome to talk to you. So thanks for taking the time. I was just wondering, completely outside of your own experience in the banking sector, you obviously seem like someone who studied XRP and Ripple. So could you just give me kind of your thesis on where this company and digital asset ends up in the next 10 years, or just how you see it becoming important to the financial system in the future in your own personal capacity?
Oh, that's a great question. Ripple, I feel, would be, they will be the one entity, I guess I could say, that is going to take over global payments. I just see it. That's my personal opinion. I don't work for Ripple. I'm not endorsed by Ripple.
And they're here to make a dent in the universe. They've said it too.
Yeah. And I mean, there's a huge problem globally within the financial system. And honestly, no bank has been able to communicate with one another ever. That's never been a thing. Bank of America cannot communicate with Wells Fargo. That's why we have SWIFT and all these other third parties in place. These banks cannot communicate. And I feel like that is where the game changer is with Ripple, is that this puts everyone on the same network. And I just, in my mind, this is bigger than what most people can fathom.
People have long asked what will be the price of XRP, when will this utility come? In my opinion, now more than ever I see a divided XRP army. One side looking at only charts, taking cues from the past and trends that follow Bitcoin to draw short-term price predictions. Whilst others cling to utility, believing that partnerships and the replacement of antiquated systems will drive price. Neither side has been correct, nor in the future will either side be correct. XRP, for those not in the know, is not a security. Why would we continue to pretend it is and make price predictions based on securities in the crypto space? This logic seems counterintuitive and holds back what the Team Ripple set off to do so many years ago. If you dare to challenge the status quo, you must first believe in what you own and know that anything is possible. I have been asked to give my price prediction, with no time frame, no clear understanding of circulating supply or firm dollar amount that equates to a start. All listed items are subject to change and will over time. We are just over 2 weeks from the SEC versus Ripple ruling. 1 week after the FedNow announcement, Congress has just passed the proposed crypto regulation bill to the Senate, and we are just 9 days into testing FedNow with banks. Now, Dalhill Capital has written a whole white paper on XRP price, and I will not pretend to think I know any of that math they did. People look at that document in shock and say there is no way. Most of this is due to our own chart analysts stating it is not in the charts to do that. Here is the small problem I have with the charts. If you set a range for XRP, say $1 to $5, you are ultimately saying that if one company owned all the XRP, yes, all 100 billion, they would have a liquidity strength, LS, from $100 billion to $500 billion. This liquidity strength does not account for any growth in the economy, the action of messaging and settling, nor the 24/7 365 benefits we receive using XRP. SWIFT handles about 44.8 million messages a day. These are just messages, not settlements, only half of what XRP can do. Now let's say that dollar value for SWIFT is $7 trillion a day. If Ripple, through its 10 years of innovation and partnerships, were only able to grab 30% of SWIFT's value, that would be $2.1 trillion in daily value, approximately 13.2 million messages. What does all this mean? Big banks move big money every day. So now say I were a bank and want to send a $750 million XRP transaction with a liquidity strength of say $1, you would need 750 million XRP for a single transaction, never going to happen. Furthermore, there is more than one client. And no one wants to break that $750 million transaction into 750,000 $1,000 transactions, each having a burn rate. You still want a price prediction. Let's account for all the banks globally, all the XRP that has been burnt, all the XRP you and I own. All the XRP given to other large banks and the XRP given to the creators. Now take the XRP that is on liquidity hubs and exchanges and present an amount that represents a range, make it simple. If I had to guess, there will be 50 to 75 billion XRP at any one time supporting liquidity strength. Now spread that across say 300 to 1,000 different banks, liquidity providers, and governments. $1 times 75 billion equals $75 billion. $75 billion divided by 1,000 banks equals 75 million XRP dollars for each bank and or liquidity provider. Given liquidity strength is roughly $75 million per bank. And JP Morgan being a top-tier bank moving more than $8 trillion a day, and say due to service overlaps with SWIFT and the assumption that Ripple only captured 10% of that market, equaling $800 billion, $1 XRP is simply not enough to move that much money. This is just cross-border transactions. Not derivatives, real estate, CBDC, and NFTs. This will all put further constraints on XRP's supply. Higher price. Now, the part you all have been waiting for, my price prediction is anywhere from $100 to $500 near short term, in the next 4 to 7 months. Why? It all boils down to liquidity strength. If XRP is $100 at a supply of say only 50 billion, that makes a liquidity strength of 5 trillion, and at $500 that gives us a liquidity strength of 25 trillion. This gives the market room to breathe, allows for growth, and ensures no one company needs to own billions of XRP to perform day-to-day operations. Now how and when will this happen? How and when for me are tied together. It has always been what the creators have stated. A flip of the switch. I say this as I believe there will or has been an evaluation for XRP. This is how they will price you out. This is what I believe Rosie Rios meant when she stated, the train has left the station, and this is how the governments control the next world of finance.